Flight of Justice. The sleek Gulfstream G700 sat gleaming on the tarmac at John F. Kennedy International Airport, its polished exterior catching the September morning sun. Inside, the cabin was a haven of luxury caramel leather seats, mahogany paneling, and soft ambient lighting that whispered wealth. Passengers, a mix of America's elite, boarded with quiet confidence, their designer bags and tailored suits signaling their status. But the air turned electric when a flight attendant's sharp voice cut through the calm. "You don't belong here," she snapped, her eyes fixed on a black woman seated in the VIP section. "Move to the back, or I'll have you dragged off in handcuffs." The threat hung heavy, and every head turned toward the woman, who sat unruffled, her calm a silent challenge. What no one knew was the secret she held, a truth that would unravel the flight attendant's world in minutes. The cabin of the Gulfstream G700 was a world apart, a floating sanctuary of privilege. Passengers sipped champagne from crystal flutes, their conversations a low hum over smooth jazz. Among them was Lena Washington, a 54-year-old tech titan and the mastermind behind Skylead Airlines, a $2.3 billion empire known for revolutionizing luxury travel. Dressed in a tailored navy blazer and slacks, Lena blended in, her understated elegance masking her identity. She often traveled incognito to observe her staff, a practice born from her early days facing prejudice in Chicago's corporate world. Today, she was headed to Los Angeles to seal a $500 million deal to expand her fleet, but her focus was on the cabin's dynamics, her sharp eyes missing nothing. The flight attendant, Karen Evans, 48, moved through the aisle with a practiced smile, her navy uniform crisp, her blonde hair pinned tightly. With 20 years in the skies, Karen prided herself on control, but her snap judgments about who fit in first class revealed a deeper bias. She greeted an older couple, the Hendersons, with warmth. "So lovely to see you again, Mr. and Mrs. Henderson," she cooed, offering sparkling water to the retired surgeon and his wife, both in their late 60s, their wealth evident in their polished demeanor. But when Karen reached Lena's seat, 3A, her smile vanished. "Welcome aboard," she said curtly, her eyes narrowing as if Lena's presence in the VIP section was a mistake. Lena noticed the shift but stayed composed. She'd faced this before: skeptical glances in boardrooms, dismissive tones in upscale stores. Growing up in a working-class Chicago neighborhood, she'd built Skylead from a garage startup to a powerhouse, overcoming countless slights. She opened her tablet, reviewing notes for her meeting, but her senses stayed sharp, tracking Karen's every move. Across the aisle, David Martinez, a 40-year-old real estate mogul worth $60 million, glanced up from his laptop. His Miami roots and hard-won success made him sensitive to injustice, and Karen's tone set his jaw tight. Nearby, Margaret Collins, a 65-year-old socialite with oil money, whispered to her friend, "Who's she?" Her manicured nails tapped her champagne glass as she eyed Lena's simple attire. In the galley, Emily Parker, a 27-year-old junior flight attendant, fidgeted nervously. 6 months into her job at Skylead, she admired Karen's confidence but felt uneasy about her harsh edges. Raised in a small Iowa town where fairness was a core value, Emily sensed something wrong in Karen's treatment of Lena but stayed silent, her fear of losing her dream job outweighing her instincts. As the jet's engines hummed, preparing for takeoff, Karen's scrutiny of Lena intensified. She stopped at Lena's seat, her voice clipped. "I need to confirm your seat assignment. This section is for elite passengers." The words were polite but laced with condescension. Lena met her gaze, her voice calm but firm. "I'm in the right seat. Check the manifest if you're unsure." Karen's lips pressed thin, her irritation flaring. "I don't need to check," she snapped, loud enough to draw eyes. "I know who belongs here." The cabin grew quiet, tension crackling. David Martinez looked up, his brow furrowing. Margaret Collins leaned forward, whispering, "She's probably trying to sneak into a better seat." Her friend nodded, but David's expression hardened. He'd seen this before: people judged for their appearance, dismissed without a second thought. Emily, near the galley, clutched a stack of napkins, her heart racing. She wanted to suggest checking the manifest, but Karen's authority kept her frozen. Karen pressed on, her voice rising. "If you don't move to the back, I'll call security when we land." The threat drew gasps. David leaned forward. "Why not just check the list?" he said, his tone polite but sharp. "It'll save everyone the trouble." Karen whirled on him. "This doesn't concern you, sir," she shot back, but her confidence wavered. Margaret's whispers grew quieter, her earlier smugness fading. The Hendersons exchanged a glance, their expressions unreadable but tinged with unease. Lena, unflinching, adjusted her blazer. "You're making assumptions, and that's a mistake," she said, her voice steady. Karen scoffed. "The only mistake is you thinking you can sit where you don't belong." The words stung, and the cabin fell silent, passengers shifting uncomfortably. Emily, her hands trembling, took a step toward the manifest but froze under Karen's glare. Lena's calm nod urged her on, but Karen's sharp, "Stay where you are, Emily," stopped her cold. The tension escalated as Karen, carrying a tray of sparkling water, moved down the aisle. Lena stretched her legs slightly, and Karen, with deliberate intent, bumped into her, spilling water onto Lena's slacks. "Look at the mess you've caused," Karen exclaimed, her tone accusing. Lena, her lap soaked, looked up, her eyes narrowing. "You walked into me," she said calmly, brushing water from her clothes. "All I've asked is to be treated with respect." Karen's face reddened. "Respect? You're causing trouble and ruining my tray." The accusation was absurd, and passengers stirred. David muttered, "Unbelievable." Mr. Henderson folded his arms, his expression darkening. Margaret, her necklace clutched tightly, looked uneasy. Emily's outrage grished seeing Karen's deliberate move. She stepped forward, her voice trembling. "Maybe we should," but Karen cut her off. "Stay out of this, Emily." Then, in a shocking moment, Karen's frustration boiled over. She raised her hand and slapped Lena across the face, the sound echoing like a gunshot. Gasps erupted. David half stood, his face a mask of disbelief. Margaret's hand flew to her mouth. Emily's eyes widened, her breath catching. A passenger, a lawyer in her 50s, muttered, "That's assault." Lena, her cheeks stinging, straightened slowly, her eyes burning with quiet fire. "You just made the worst mistake of your life," she said, her voice low and piercing. The cabin froze, Lena's words a verdict. Karen, her hand trembling, tried to recover. "Don't threaten me," she hissed, but her voice shook. Emily, her resolve breaking through, slipped to the galley phone and whispered, "We have a situation." David spoke up, his voice firm. "You assaulted a passenger. Back off." The Hendersons nodded, their earlier neutrality gone. Margaret, her smugness vanished, whispered, "This is bad." The cockpit door opened, and the pilot, Thomas Reed, stepped out, his face serious. "Karen, step aside," he said. "I got a call from Sky Elite's management." Karen's eyes widened, panic flickering. "What?" Thomas's gaze flicked to Lena. "The owner of this plane in Sky Elite Airlines is on board. It's Ms. Lena Washington." Gasps rippled through the cabin. David nodded, a faint smile forming. Margaret's jaw dropped, her champagne glass nearly slipping. "She owns the airline," she whispered. Emily's face lit up with relief. Karen shook her head. "That's impossible," she stammered. Lena stood, her presence commanding. "There's no mistake," she said, her voice resonating. "I'm Lena Washington, founder of Sky Elite Airlines. You've disgraced my company with your actions." The passengers erupted in murmurs, their respect for Lena palpable. Karen's mouth opened, no words coming. "I didn't know," she whispered, tears welling. Lena's expression hardened. "You didn't know because you didn't care to know. You judged me, humiliated me, and assaulted me. That's unacceptable." Thomas stepped forward. "Ms. Washington, management has ordered a landing in Chicago. Authorities will meet us." Karen's face paled, her hands shaking. "Please, Ms. Washington, I'm sorry," she pleaded, but Lena held up a hand. "Your apology doesn't erase what you did. You chose prejudice over respect." The jet landed at Chicago O'Hare, where police waited on the tarmac. "Ms. Washington," an officer said, "are you pressing charges?" Lena nodded. "Yes. This was assault, witnessed by everyone." Karen, tears streaming, was led away in handcuffs, her once crisp uniform limp on her defeated frame. Lena addressed the passengers. "I'm sorry you witnessed this. This isn't the Sky Elite experience I want for anyone." Soft applause followed, led by David and the Hendersons. Lena approached Emily. "Your call showed integrity, Emily. You'll hear from my office about a promotion." Emily's eyes widened. "Thank you, Ms. Washington," she whispered. As Lena stepped off, her assistants briefed her for her Los Angeles meeting. The passengers, boarding a new flight, shared the story online, hashtags like Sky Elite Justice trending with 1.5 million mentions. Weeks later, Lena's CNN interview went viral. "Respect is a right," she said, announcing a $12 million training program on anti-discrimination. Karen faced assault charges but began diversity training, a slow step toward change. Emily, now a lead flight attendant, ensured fair treatment for all. David partnered with Sky Elite on a sustainability project, and Margaret wrote an op-ed apologizing for her biases, garnering 6,000 shares. On a later flight, Lena boarded to warm smiles from a new crew. As the jet soared, she gazed at the horizon, her vision clear. Luxury meant treating everyone with dignity. Sky Elite, now valued at $2.5 billion, became a beacon of change, proving leadership lifts others up, no matter the odds. What do you think? Lena's stand against injustice sparked a movement, but what about you? How do you view prejudice and accountability in everyday life? Should people like Karen get a chance to redeem themselves, or is justice enough? Share your thoughts in the comments. Where are you watching from, and what's your stance? Let's keep this conversation going and make our voices heard.